earth, it's within us. It's not within, four walls and a ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
You can't contain God. His kingdom was within his people.
Sherry, do you consider yourself a prophet, a prophetess?
The Lord has called me a prophet to the nations.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say this interview would be easy, so hopefully I've challenged you a tad.
I prefer watchman.
Yeah, watchman.
Or mouthpiece.
Okay. Uh-huh.
Because I just say what he wants me to say and do what he wants me to do.
Yeah.
And I don't need, these high-minded titles or whatever.
Yeah.
I just do his will. I'm just me.
Well, you don't seem to hide behind very safe prophecies, because that's what I'm trying to say. And in a lot of churches, if they say a prophet even exists, the usual average prophet is going to prophesy something that can neither be proved nor disproved, or would challenge any of the status quo, but just be a little bit, I don't know, more of the same.
One of the things, too, people overlook is a little word if in Ezekiel 33:6 when he talks about the watchman.
Yep.
If the watchman prophesy and the event doesn't come to pass and someone's hurt, if it comes to pass, if it comes to pass. But the watchman is still to sound alarms. If it comes to pass or not. His job's to sound alarms.
Now, do you consider yourself a watchman to believers and non-believers, or just believers?
I'm blabbing to anyone who will listen. I'll preach the Lord and his salvation to the unsaved and try to wake up the ones that are saved. They're sleeping. My mandate, my message in the last days that the Lord's given me is to warn them of the coming UFO invasion, of the coming aliens, of what's going on, the last nation, the alien nation that's going to rise on this earth. And so that crosses all boundaries. I have children sending me emails, teenagers, and they understand it more than the adults do.
Yeah.
So I cross all boundaries. I can't, tailor my message just to a certain particular group, but I'm sure a lot of younger children aren't going to be listening to me anyway to get scared.
All right, Sherry, we got a question here for you. Come through the Flash Blast on the EdgeAM.com. Sherry, when will the start of the 7-year tribulation be, and who are the two witnesses of chapter 11 of Revelation?
I don't know who the witnesses are. I could tell you, just from my own thoughts, nothing else, that I believe that they will be Elijah and Enoch.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people think it's Moses and who is Enoch, Moses and Enoch. Yeah. But the thing is, if you look in Nicodemus 3:5 or it's 5:3, and this is a lost book that they found at the caves, the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Dead Sea Scrolls, okay.
And this Nicodemus book prophesied that it would be Elijah and Enoch coming. And so that's always had my interest since I read that. And so that's my thought, John. The Lord has never given me any indication one way or the other who it is. Or even if it's literal.
When do you think the start of the 7-year tribulation will be?
I don't think anybody's going to know the start. I think everyone's going to pretty much know where we're in it when he comes parading himself through the clouds announcing he's God with a bunch of UFOs.
Okay.
I think at that point everybody's going to know.
You're going to know. Okay.
We're 42 months away.
All right, Sherry, we have another question that comes through the Fast Blast on the EdgeAM.com website. Have you heard of Stuart Wilde, and do you know of his vision of an earthquake hitting Seattle?
I haven't heard of Stuart Wilde, no.
Okay. Do you believe that, let me ask you this personally, do you believe that earthquakes are a result of the earth itself rebelling against man, or is it God calling that, or is it just natural phenomena and nobody has anything to do with it?
Well, it's all of the above. And also, don't forget Planet X coming in, knocking off the earth. Can
demonic hordes cause natural disasters?
Demonic hordes?
Hordes, demons, principalities of the air, anything like that.
I'm not sure if they can control the weather. Or control judgments like that. I know they control whole areas to get them to sin.
Could God cause those spirits, the powers of the air, cause them to do his bidding and have them, did not God in the Bible use spirits to do certain things?
Oh, yes, and he'll use mankind. He'll use man's armies to inflict his judgments that he calls upon others. America is under judgment right now, and we're going to see, destruction here, and he will use terrorists or the Russians or the Chinese. He uses people to fulfill his judgment.
But to us, the people on the ground level, we look at those as just, Russia firing some nukes, or, disturbance in Saudi Arabia, or, the attack of 9/11. We don't look at that like a spiritual. We look at just the cause and effect of man's normal behavior. But you're saying there's a spiritual aspect of these events.
Oh, yes. Some things do happen just because of man's will. We have free choice. But you can't forget that the Lord can also use man and will use man to inflict his judgments on the world.
Sherry, this show just not quite on fire yet, so let's just go ahead and set it on fire with this question. Is AIDS a result of sin?
AIDS is a result of a government laboratory where their whole agenda to depopulate the world was to target certain, to them, undesirable populations.
Is that in any way God's judgment?
Well, the Lord can use it. He can use that as His judgment. Mm-hmm. But let's look at the face of it. It was created in a government laboratory in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. You realize, of course, there's no safe preacher that would ever say that God would use any kind of destruction upon the earth. Yet the Bible is full of it from cover to cover. How can they separate the two?
Doesn't Deuteronomy or Ezekiel that states, I, the Lord, create evil? And He creates it for His own purposes.
But you know what I'm saying? They never, ever say, the Bible is full of it, how many thousands of pages it is, of God's judgment. And then all of a sudden we get to us up here, and all of a sudden God has no part of it. That's just, You know what?
So many believers today have their heads in the sand, Daniel, because they don't believe that anything's going to happen to them. They're going to be raptured off the earth before a hair on their head is harmed or starved or thirsty. They don't believe that anything's going to happen to them because they're sitting in these churches and lulled to sleep at how protected they're going to be and not see a thing happen here. They're going to be raptured off the earth. Mm-hmm. And when destructions do hit and things do start to fall, a lot of their faiths are going to be shaken.
If somebody tried to take out President Bush, you think Christians could stop that with the power of prayer?
Well, I stopped an assassination last year by posting it, so yes. Mm-hmm. I knew when an assassination was coming last November, and the Lord had me posted.
Yeah, we had a guest on that said, when something that is prophesied doesn't come to pass because, the Bible said that my people will humble themselves and pray, and, then I will heal their land. So it does sound like prayer can stop the events that are actually scheduled.
Oh, yes. Yes, like I've said, the power of prayer is much more powerful than we think. Yeah. And if people are praying and the prophets are prophesying and then the events don't come to pass, they're blasting the false, the prophets as being false without taking into consideration the prayers that were said and that the Lord relented. Okay.
All right, Sherry, about 1 minute left. What do you got to say to our radio listener audience?
Well, the only thing I have to say really is to get back to the Lord. Yeah. Come back to Yahweh, get to the Lord. Okay. Give up the man-made systems and just come back to Him and build an intimate relationship just with Him.
Yeah. Wise words. Sherry, thank you for coming on the Edge radio broadcast. Can we have you on back again?
Oh, sure, anytime, Daniel.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
You have been listening to The Edge with Daniel Ott. To subscribe to The Edge newsletter, log on to theedgeam.com. That's theedgeam.com, where you can find out more about the guests and topics discussed on the air. The Edge is being brought to you by Internet Solutions, home of affordable website design and low-cost Internet access. Visit Internet Solutions at es4.com. That's es4.com. Until next week, for the Edge Radio broadcast, I'm Chris Moore. See you on the Edge.